Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer on Dave Kirpin's absolutely phenomenal book, The Art of People. We're going to dive right into this today because look, if you've ever felt like getting ahead in life requires you to be, ruthlessly ambitious or constantly aggressively self-promoting, well, prepare to have your perspective entirely shifted. What we're going to unpack is a super powerful truth. Your long-term success, whether we're talking about your career or your personal life, relies almost entirely on genuine empathy and strategic listening. It's all about how you actually connect with others. To really set the stage for why this matters so much, I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine the author, Dave Kirpin, walking down the red carpet at a major Hollywood awards show, literally right behind American Idol stars Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard. From the outside, he completely had it all. He was rich, he was famous, making thousands of dollars literally just to show up at parties. And yet, in that exact moment, he was feeling totally depressed, empty, and alone. And honestly, that profound loneliness sparked a crucial realization for him. Human connection is what actually matters most. Success and happiness are just impossible in a vacuum. Everything else is just noise if you don't have a solid network of genuine relationships. So here is our playbook for today. 1. People matter most. 2. How to understand anyone. 3. Talk less, listen more. 4. Secrets of effective networking. And finally, 5. Managing your environment and time. All right, kicking things off with section 1, people are what matters. Before we can even look outward to connect with others, we actually have to look inward. Self-awareness is the absolute foundation for connecting with anybody else. So Kirpin was at this leadership retreat once, and he was introduced to the Enneagram. It's this highly reliable personality assessment tool that reveals your core motivations and, frankly, your communication flaws. Well, he discovered he was a type 3, the achiever, and he realized that his core motivation to be successful led to this massive blind spot, a total disease to please. Basically, he just kept saying yes to every single project and interview until he completely burned out and his family life really suffered. The big lesson here? You literally cannot effectively influence others until you intimately understand your own psychological drivers. You've got to write your own script before you can read anyone else's. Moving right along to section 2, how to understand anyone. Let's explore some actionable tactics for decoding the people around you. And let's start with the ones you find exceptionally difficult. We all have that one person we just can't stand working with, right? For Kirpin, it was this really hostile, demanding colleague. We'll just call him John. Well, Kirpin completely transformed this insanely frustrating relationship just by taking John out for a quick 15-minute coffee. Instead of arguing with him, Kirpin just asked questions, and he actively listened. And what did he find out? He discovered John had a really tough childhood, practically grew up single-handedly, and made a vow to never rely on anyone ever again. Now, understanding that John was just driven by this deep need for strength and independence didn't magically turn him into a warm, fuzzy guy, but it gave Kirpin the exact empathy he needed to work with him effectively. A 15-minute, $5 coffee investment can honestly save you months of professional headaches. But okay, what about meeting totally new people? You can actually bypass all that superficial small talk about the weather and instantly understand someone's core values by asking 3 rapid-fire questions. These were actually developed by networking expert Larry Bennett. Here they are. What is your most exciting current project? If you had enough money to retire, what would you do? And what charity do you support and why? Kirpin actually tried this out at a conference. He paired up with a total stranger, and in just 3 minutes, by asking about passions, retirement dreams, and charities, they knew more about each other's deepest values than they knew about people they'd worked with for years. So skip the small talk. Just ask better questions. All right, section 3, talk less, listen more. This section tackles what might be the hardest lesson for some of us to learn. It's kind of paradoxical, actually. To be interesting, you genuinely have to be interested in others. Oh man, Dave learned the danger of over-talking the hard way on his very first date at age 21. He was so nervous and so desperately eager to impress this girl named Robin that he essentially went into full storyteller mode. He talked so much about himself, literally mentally queuing up his next impressive anecdote, that he totally tuned her out. He didn't listen to a single word she said, and he completely alienated her. Shockingly, the date was a total disaster. Look, if you're just waiting for your turn to speak, you are not actually listening. And believe me, people can feel that disconnect instantly. Think about this for a second. According to Albert Mehrabian's famous study, true listening actually requires your eyes just as much as your ears. Why? Because a staggering 93% of communication is completely nonverbal. You've got body language making up 55%, and tone of voice at 38%. So if you're only paying attention to the 7% that is actual words, you're basically missing the entire story. You uncover the real truth by paying super close attention to the unspoken cues. I'm talking about facial expressions, posture and movement, hand gestures, and how someone uses their personal space. Are their arms crossed because they're uncomfortable? Is their posture open and relaxed? Are they stepping into your personal space or kind of backing away? You really have to listen like a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons, leaning forward, fully engrossed, and taking in every single visual and auditory cue. That is how you actually read people. And giving someone just 20 minutes of your totally uninterrupted attention, it can yield mind-blowing results. Kirpin was at a party in New York once, literally just sitting by a wall waiting for his phone to charge, and he ended up sitting next to a stranger named Jackie. He just looked at her and asked, "Tell me about yourself." And then he shut up. For 20 solid minutes, Jackie poured her absolute heart out about her career, her travels, and her loneliness. She felt so genuinely heard and appreciated that when Kirpin casually mentioned he was heading out to California, she spontaneously used her personal connections to score him a completely impossible dinner reservation at the world-famous French Laundry restaurant. Now, he didn't listen to get a reward, right? He listened to connect. The reward was just the serendipitous magic that happens when you make someone feel truly valued. Section 4. Secrets of Effective Networking. Let's shift gears a bit and look at the secrets of standing out in a crowded room so you can actually build that network. How on earth do you cut through the noise at a massive startup conference filled with hundreds of desperate founders trying to get funding? Well, Dave Kirpin wore bright orange shoes. I'm serious. It sounds absolutely crazy, but that stylistic hook grabbed the attention of a major Silicon Valley investor named Dave McClure. McClure literally stopped in his tracks, pointed at the shoes, and struck up a conversation. And that single random interaction led to a massive investment deal for Kirpin's company. Now, obviously, you don't have to wear orange shoes, but having a signature style, like a really unique watch, a bright scarf, a memorable hat, it gives people a super easy excuse to approach you and just say hi. But hey, what if bold fashion isn't your thing? Let's take this into the digital world. You can actually meet literally anyone using a really simple digital approach. First, fully complete your profile. Second, reconnect with past colleagues. And third, ask your mutual connections for warm introductions. For example, Kirpin really wanted to meet Solly Krawcheck, who was one of the most powerful women on Wall Street. A colleague told him, "No way, that's impossible." But Kirpin just went on LinkedIn, found a mutual connection he had previously done a solid favor for, and simply asked for an intro. Literally 1 week later, he's sitting across from Solly drinking coffee. Build your profile, map those mutuals, and ask for warm introductions. The world is a lot smaller than you think. And finally, Section 5, Managing Environment and Time. The last piece of our playbook today is all about curation. It's about consciously, intentionally building your inner circle while fiercely guarding your absolute most precious asset, your time. When you're managing relationships, you absolutely have to avoid the mental trap of cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm talking about. It's that little voice in your head that flat out refuses to admit you made a bad choice, which causes you to hold on to a toxic employee or a really draining friendship for months or even years too long. Instead of doing that, you have to embrace ruthless prioritization. Think of it this way. Every single minute you spend with the wrong person is a minute stolen from the right person. So the really crucial point here is to take your time letting people into your life, but cut ties immediately the second they prove toxic. Kirpin learned this the hard way too. He hired the super charismatic sales manager named Peyton. And despite early red flags like rumors of inappropriate behavior and drinking on the job, Kirpin held on. He kept hoping he could fix him. He totally fell for that cognitive dissonance. Well, that is until he got a frantic call that Peyton was found doing cocaine in the office bathroom. Obviously, Kirpin had to fire him on the spot. Whether it's in business or in your personal life, vet people carefully. But the very moment your gut tells you they're toxic, cut the cord. Valuing your time also means knowing how to politely blow someone off when a meeting just isn't serving either of you. Kirpin actually experienced a masterclass in this during an investor meeting that was booked for 30 minutes. The investor, Brett, came in, shook hands, listened to a 4-minute pitch, and then directly stated it just wasn't a fit for his fund. But then, he typed up a quick email introducing Kirpin to someone who could help, shook his hand again, and ended the meeting. The whole thing took exactly 8 minutes, and instead of feeling insulted, Kirpin actually felt deeply grateful. Brett saved them both 22 minutes of awkward small talk while still providing immense value. And honestly, that is how you protect your time with grace. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to really, truly think about this for a second. Who do you need to prune from your life right now to protect your time and your energy? And on the flip side, Who is that difficult colleague or that exciting new contact that you're going to invite for a 15-minute coffee tomorrow? Remember, success doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens when you step up, listen deeply, and completely master the art of people.